Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Faith, Fitness, and Fastballs. I have my man Richard Jackson here, University of Tennessee assistant coach. How you doing today, man?
Good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, how was Chattanooga? I know y'all just had y'all's fall World Series there. How was that?
Yeah. No, it was good. It was a good ending. All three games were, super competitive, super close. We went to the Smokies for game one, and then down to the Lookout Stadium, games two and three. So it was good. Get the guys out on the road. The experience, stay in the hotel, and
For
actually
sure.
did split hotels for both teams. So kind of took
Oh,
that extra.
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Hey, two separate buses, two separate hotels. They, two different meals, like all that stuff, dude.
Yeah. So y'all try to
Yeah.
y'all kept it like it was an actual series. Like, don't talk to each
Oh
other,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah. 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 It probably had a little bit more stress on Chad, but
I bet.
um,
I
booking
bet. You getting all that
two
taken care
separate
of.
meals and all that stuff. But yeah.
Facts.
So, but no, it was good, man. Like, that's what you want. You want it to be 1-1, and game three means something, and all that. That's the toughest part about doing all those. Like, hey, if it is 2-0, well, what do you do? Like, hey, if you get
Yeah.
swept, is the next week, 6 a.m. list for the losing team, or
Right.
whatever it may be. So you never really want to be in that situation, but luckily, the last couple years has actually been pretty even, and all that stuff. So it was good.
Good, man. Good. I'm glad to get you on, man. We have a lot to talk about and a lot of things I want to ask you about
Yeah.
how you got to where you're at now and with the team and just certain things and how college baseball is today. So kind of kicking it off.
Yeah.
Obviously I know these things, but walk us through how you got to Tennessee. Like how you getting to Tennessee. Your years there, and then obviously more so you getting into coaching. Honestly, college coaching.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Atlanta. Went to Woodward Academy High School. Played out at East Cobb, played at Team Elite. Did that all that stuff. And then I guess it was towards the tail end of my junior spring, which back then, dude, like, hey, recruiting was different. I know the rules just changed, but I don't know when you committed. You may have committed super early, but if you were committed, your sophomore, junior, senior year of high school, you were kind of, average. It wasn't crazy
Oh
early,
wow.
crazy late, or anything like
Yeah.
that. And then I guess shortly when we were into, I guess I got into college recruiting, basically took a nosedive to where you're looking at eighth, ninth graders, already. Um, but
Oof.
yeah, so I guess I started talking to Coach Bergeron during my junior year,
Mm-hmm.
here at Tennessee, and he came and saw me play, I believe, once at East Cobb, and came up for a camp, and ended up committing to the Vols, and kind of never looked back, man. Like, it's perfect spot for me to go close to Atlanta. My dad is actually
Yep.
from here,
Didn't know that.
so yeah, and I wanted to play for Coach Toronto. He's at the time pitching legend,
Yep.
and all that. And I was kind of mesmerized at what I thought this place could be, and so I wanted to wear the orange and white, and all orange on Fridays, and
Yep.
the whole 9 yards.
For
Um,
sure.
but yeah, so ended up, I think my first season was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And I was right-handed pitcher, didn't throw enough strikes, um, and ended up redshirting that first year.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I was looking back, it's kind of funny looking back at it, because, dude, I swear I probably hit you more than anyone I've ever faced,
I'm
in all
I'm glad
honesty.
you brought that
And
up.
yeah, and dude, I remember one vividly. Like, I had you 0-2, right? I had two outs. I had you 0-2, and I was a guy, like, I could spin a breaking ball pretty well. Like, that was
Yeah,
that
you
was that
could.
was kind of my deal. Like,
Yeah.
maybe fastball was more in one plane than the rest, but I for whatever reason, I could really spin it, and I had you 0-2. I was trying to go backdoor slider to you, and I
Mm-hmm.
yank it, basically trying to make it too good of a pitch and hit you in the back foot. And then how then you get 25 pitches or 20 pitches in an inning, whatever it was, and the
Yeah.
inning's done. I was like, golly, man, like,
I don't remember that exact
but
moment, but
yeah,
I do
kind
remember
of,
you hitting me a couple times. So I do remember that.
yeah, definitely hit you more times than I got you out. But
It's okay. I
yeah,
forgive
so
you.
kind of long story short, didn't throw enough strikes. Needed the red shirt. Needed a year to kind of mature and kind of learn the ropes and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So red shirted that whole 2015 season, and then went and played summer ball up in New York, and kind of I felt got a lot better.
Hmm.
Wasn't kind of to where I wanted to be yet. And came back and ended up pitching a little bit that my sophomore spring, so I
Yep.
guess would have been my redshirt freshman spring. Then ended up having a couple shoulder surgeries and
Yep.
missed that year as well. I think I believe that was late March, maybe early April.
Yeah.
So got a little bit of experience, and then kind of took off from there. Missed basically 9-10 months,
Yeah.
and came back into it my junior year, so my third year of college, and first full healthy season, and just wasn't ever really the same,
Yeah.
and didn't have the innings that I would have liked, and that kind of stuff, but and then played for a new coach after I guess that third year,
Yeah.
which was kind of a blessing in disguise. At the time, dude,
For sure.
you don't really know kind of what's going to happen and all that stuff. But Coach Anderson, Frank and I became really close, and
Hmm.
he helped me out a lot, and he's big in kind of the visualization stuff, and that was
Yep.
big part of what I needed, and changed my arm slot, and
Yeah. I remember that.
yeah, yeah, it was funny. Um, so Texas A&M, this would have been my fourth year of college, so my redshirt junior year. Texas A&M had a guy who was kind of in that lower slot too, and he absolutely shoved against us. And after the series, because Frank had kind of brought it up to me a handful of times, like tried it out, all that stuff,
Yeah.
and Frank was basically like, "Hey, do you ever want to pitch?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Well, you need to do this and go kind of all in on it."
Yeah.
And it took me about 4 months to 4 or 5 months to kind of feel comfortable doing it, and then going into my last year, I ended up pitching a decent amount. Just I was experienced, I was older, I never got sped up, and
Right.
and I had good enough stuff to kind of get guys out, and so it was fun. So I owe a lot to Frank for kind of seeing that in me, and for B keeping me around and all that stuff. But yeah, so kind of know I'm rambling here and going off on a tangent,
No,
but
you're good, man.
yeah, so I get done playing. My last year playing was 2019, the first regional year, and gosh, I think 14, 15 years, and
Yeah.
I still had a master's to finish.
Hmm.
So I was back and forth on cashing in on my medical red shirt and playing a
Yeah.
sixth year at the time, or just going straight into being a GA, finish up my masters,
Yeah.
and kind of roast of the other side, which is something that I was kind of passionate about. It all started back when. I guess it was my sophomore year, dude. All I would do is on game days, I would sit right next to Dave and just chart,
Yeah.
and kind of going through him calling pitches and all that stuff, and
You got your
and so I
first
was super
taste of
fascinated
everything
with
there.
that. And then right, and then dude, being an older guy, like we had a new coaching staff. Okay, we had some new players,
Yeah.
and I was the older guy, and we had Benito and Brody, and they were position guys, but
Yeah.
dude, we were probably the youngest pitching staff in baseball history that year.
Hmm.
That Coach Vitello's first year, and so I was like, well, I guess all right, I'll kind of be the guy. Hey, this is how we do things.
Right.
Whatever. And so
For
I
sure.
enjoyed starting to do that. And and then my fifth year, my redshirt senior, or yeah, so I guess my redshirt senior year, I basically kind of took it to another level. Like I enjoyed kind of the new guys coming in and kind of molding them
Hmm.
to what we all kind of wanted the culture to be per se.
Right.
So that was kind of how I got started, and wanting to coach. And then obviously that decision between playing my sixth year and just going into the GA was tough. A big part of that not wanting to play was dude, I had a bad shoulder, man. Like the thing hurt every time I threw. So I was
Yeah.
like, do I really want to do all this prep? Do like, hey, it would take an hour and a half of prep with Woody, doing all
Yeah.
kinds of different stuff just to go out there and feel all right.
Yeah.
And so and along with that too, like I wanted to go ahead and learn, hey, this is how you do things on the other side of it.
Right.
Um, so so ended up finishing up my master's, and COVID hits. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up being able to come back and didn't have to go to school. There was some kind of rule there where I came back and I got to come back as a second year as a GA, which technically does not normally happen.
Right. Right.
Um, and so that would have been the 2021 year. And then Coach Kivett, Ross leaves, goes to Houston,
Yep.
and I just I was the volunteer for 2 years, and then now a full time guy, and because people always ask, dude, like whatever, how'd you do it, like whatever. Well, dude, I was got lucky, man.
Yeah.
I work for a guy who's extremely loyal, and if you
Yeah.
put in that work, and he's loyalty's a big deal to him.
For sure. No, for sure.
So
That's good. It's hard to find guys like that nowadays,
yeah.
especially in college sports.
Right.
So
Well, especially somewhere where it's so, I mean, dude, it can get
mhm.
political on you real quick. Like,
Oh yeah.
just with, yeah, like, you got admin, you got parents, you got, recruits, all this different stuff. And, to have a guy and to work for a guy who's that loyal and, you know, will tell other people to take a hike when they're, complaining and stuff like that, is
Right.
special.
No, for sure. I agree. How like I see Vitello and obviously I've seen the change that he's done. Um
Yeah.
what do you say the best things, the best qualities of, not only playing for Vitello but coaching
Yeah.
alongside of him? What would you say some of the best
Yeah.
qualities are of
Dude,
him?
he works harder than anyone else. Like I know
Mhm.
that's kind of cliche to say. Like a lot of people say that about their boss, but dude, I could probably drive by. There's 822 here in Knoxville. I could probably drive by the field right now, and his light's probably on. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And and like you go out to all these events and this and that, where you hardly ever see any head coaches there. Like you'll see a couple, like
Yeah.
here and there. Maybe they come in one day to see a kid or show face or whatever. Dude, but he is there basically the whole time the thing's going on.
Yeah.
Like we ended the year this fall. The last weekend of the recruiting calendar was in Jupiter,
Okay.
and he was
Yeah.
probably one of two head coaches down there.
Wow.
And he stayed the whole dang time. Like we
Really?
literally, he took. I think I was on like the 8 a.m. flight, and he was on like the 8:30 flight or 9
Mhm.
a.m. flight, and stayed down there the whole dang time. And dude, his motor is so high, and that's kind of his deal is, hey, you may know more about me, you may be better than me, whatever, but I'm gonna outwork you.
Yeah.
And for him, that's paid off. So that's one, man. Like he's a crazy good communicator.
Yeah.
He's very very good in kind of the mental game and how to approach things and giving players visuals for certain situations that either he went through as a player that he learned learned hey, this is how you don't do it, or whatever it
Yeah.
may be. Like he's very very good at kind of relaying that and communicating that in a way that is easy for the 18 to 22, 23-year old kid to
Yeah.
understand.
For sure.
And dude, he's younger too. Like he relates a lot
Yeah.
to kind of the day and age of player.
Which is big. Which is
uh
big. That's a
no,
huge
dude, it's
thing.
huge. Like, hey, because dude, a lot of people ask you that, like, hey, what's one thing that you love about? He's in the trenches with you, man.
Yeah.
Like it ain't like hey, CEO, hey, I'm gonna watch back and just
Mhm.
gripe and stuff like that. Dude, he's the one out there, doing infield drills with you, doing
He's leading the
this and that.
charge.
Yeah, 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 dude. You feel like he's one. I mean, obviously, you had the respect for him and just playing
Mhm.
for him, and like you obviously respect his position, you respect how hard he works, and he's the head coach. He makes he has the final say, but
Yeah.
you feel like he's with you. It ain't like it's you against him or whatever. He's literally just right there in the trenches with you.
That's good. And I'll
Yeah.
say, like, 'cause I don't miss many games. I usually watch a lot of them. it seems like
Right.
it seems like each game is war, and he's going to war with his players, which as a player is
Yeah.
what you want.
Yep.
You want a
Right.
coach to seem like, hey, like, yeah, we're going to battle, and he's right there with us, which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I ran into him, I think it was last year sometime at the airport, and
Okay.
going right to your story, I came up to him, just introduced myself, and I think he recognized me from, because he was at Arkansas before. So and I'm right,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm pretty. We played against
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
my freshman year. So
Well, and yeah, well, and we did that. I guess we did in 2015 too. You remember when because they walked it off in like the 19th or in the ninth inning, right?
yeah, but remember, I remember I had hand
Oh,
surgery.
that's right. You had that hammy
Yeah,
surgery,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
I had the thumb surgery, so I missed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I saw him in the airport, he was heading to go recruit. I mean, it was early.
Yeah.
I think I was got there around 7:38, and he was walking right before
Yeah.
me. So that just goes to show how hard he works.
Yeah. No, he's
And
different, man.
yeah, it seems like, and but the success, the success shows it.
Right.
So for you, obviously, playing the years of college baseball, how does it feel to be on the other side now, like to be in college coaching? I mean, you're on the same field that you played on, but now you're on the other side. Like, how does
Yeah.
that feel to be, a SEC baseball coach, and what does that look like for you as a process, knowing the game now and seeing
Yeah.
players and just recognizing the game?
Dude, well, that's good. Frank and I were actually talking about this the other day, or down there in Chattanooga. I guess with all the knowledge and just stuff that you learn over the years, and kind of learning on this side of it, I wish I could go back and play. Like, it would be a
Mhm.
lot to me. I think it would be a lot easier, kind of from a mental standpoint, to go back and play, because you see, what these kids struggle with
Yeah,
now. Whether they get sped up or whatever it may be. And you basically learn ways to help them combat it, which also, I mean, I look back, dude, at my career stuff I struggle with now is stuff that basically I've learned, via Frank or, Tony or
right.
whatever it may be, to, how to kind of help guys go through it. So I think looking back, like, I wish I could go back and play and know some of the stuff that I know now.
hmm Would you
But
say
dude, it
more the
was
mental
tough.
side?
Like I would be lying to you. Yeah, more mental side.
hmm
And obviously, like, you see stuff more easily from the like mechanical side. If you're looking at a picture, like,
Yeah,
hey, this ain't gonna work, or whatever it may be.
right.
But yeah, the mental side, would probably have to help me a lot, just stuff that I've kind of gathered. But dude, I'll be lying if I said it wasn't difficult at the start. Like, I basically played with the whole group of guys who, was the first year that I was GAing,
hmm
so it was kind of different. Like, I went from, being in the locker room, that summer to basically, hey, I'm in charge of the, making sure you make your times doing the conditioning, because if you don't, you got another one.
Yeah, yeah.
So so, it's like, dang, dude, I was just in this guy's shoes like 3 months ago, like, basically, in my head, MF and or whatever.
hmm
But no, I mean, I was fortunate. Like, I had basically 2 years before I kind of became, hey, a little bit bigger role being the volley.
Right.
And so I was fortunate. And then now I think the last guy that I played with was last year. So now it's kind of a clean slate. And
Mm.
and
Who is that?
it was Sewell, Camden Sewell, and then
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, then I played with Christian Scott as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy, right? Though, like,
yeah,
after all these years, you still had a couple guys you played with.
right,
Um, no, and that's a good perspective from just being on that other side, and really the mental side too. I think, and even me, I mean,
right,
obviously not in coaching, but I do a lot of training and stuff, and I always say, like, the mental side of, and that's why I try to teach a lot of the guys that I work with now.
yeah,
The mental side of the game is more important. Like, obviously, they have the work ethic and the
right,
skill, but I've seen so many guys, bro, that may not have, like, all the tools, but they know they're the man up there,
yep,
and they figure it out. I always tell guys this, that my freshman year, the most the I guess the most intimidating thing I ever saw was when we were at Vanderbilt my freshman year, and we played against Tony Kemp at
okay,
Vandy, and he had a crazy walk up song, and remember, this guy's like he can't be more than like 5'5", and he's coming off SEC Freshman of the Year, one
Right.
SEC Player of the Year that year, batting 400, and he knew he was going to get on base every single time, and
Right.
it was the aura around him. And obviously, as you get around the game and you see these guys, um, you see guys that have that. They're just like, hey, like, like I'm the guy. And now a lot of,
Yep.
at least when we played, a lot of them are in the big leagues now. I mean,
Yep.
Alex Bregman is another one that I was just like, I
Right.
mean, you knew what he was going to be because he already knew it himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I guess now with kind of going to the next subject, um, we obviously got a chance to play together, and we became really good friends. I think we played with each other for 2 years. I think,
Yeah. 2 years.
yeah, two
Yeah.
years. We were just having class together and just obviously just becoming good friends, being from Georgia.
Yeah.
That I always tell people, like, obviously we didn't have the success wins wise when we were at UT, but we had some great talent. I mean, we
Yeah.
had obviously Christian Stewart, who made it to the big leagues. We had Nick Senzel, who was a number 2 overall pick. We had several guys. I mean, our 2015 team had maybe, like, not that year, but overall
No, it was like,
18 guys that got drafted,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think it was like 6 or 7 guys within the first 3 or 4 rounds, or maybe first 7 rounds, or what. It was something wild.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy.
Um,
Our talent was
but
really good. That 2015
yeah.
year and 2016, look, but we lost a lot of guys from that 2015 team. We lost. That's when we lost AJ,
Right.
Andrew Drake, and Stewie, and
Stewie.
yeah. So we lost
Yeah.
some guys. What for you?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had the success with the past couple years. You've been to the College World Series, 2 out of the
Yeah.
last 3 years. What would you say was from what you saw is the reason what would you say was the differences and similarities between maybe our 2015 year team and some of the teams that you've had in the past 2 to 3 years?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, like you said, dude, that 2015 team was super talented. Like,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier, like, outside of last year, I mean, that 22 team, so I guess 2 years ago, dude, it may have been one of the more talented groups that kind of been around.
Yeah.
I think, you know, to kind of answer your question first, like, so one of the differences, I think, everything's kind of revolved around competing, and the
Mm-hmm.
culture is pretty good. Like, now it's to a point where you don't even really have to say the word culture. Like, it's, hey, this is how things are done. If you don't like it, that's fine. We'll see ya. You
Yeah.
know, and so that's something that kind of took a little time to build. But
Mm-hmm.
that also started in 2018, was the first year we started working on that.
Yeah.
And so much of that stuff is kind of, is a lot of it's built in the weight room with Q, and he does such a tremendous job with
Mm-hmm.
the guys, and not just like making everyone come together, and all that stuff, but it teaches you life skills, and he's the guy you guys go to, and talk about all kinds of stuff,
Right.
outside of baseball. So I think big ones, obviously, the culture,
Mm-hmm.
everything is about competing. There's a winner and a loser, at everything that you do in life.
Right.
So what are you going to do to basically win?
Yeah.
Um, so but on the flip side of it, so we go to a regional in 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first one in 14, 15 years, whatever. Okay, well, that 2020 team benefited from the 2019 team.
Yeah.
Okay, and that 2020 team was crazy
Man,
good.
I'm glad you hit on that, because watching, like, I know I've known Zach Daniels for a long time. He's from
Yeah,
Henry County, and
yeah,
obviously he's having crazy success now.
yeah,
You had Al Solaric. He was on that team, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, hey, he was probably he was probably one of the most pure, naturally talented hitters I've ever seen. I mean,
really.
like, you look at Nick, like, dude, but Nick worked his tail off. Nick was an absolutely incredible hitter, and all that, but Alaric just, dude, he I mean, it didn't matter what you threw at him, man. He was gonna freaking hammer it,
Mm,
and but yeah, so 2020 benefited from going through a regional. Hey, this is what you do to make a regional,
yeah.
right? 2021 benefited from that 20 most of the 2021 guys were from the 2019 team, so they
Right.
got that free year. And then kind of so on and so forth. But dude, in 2019, it wasn't, hey, this is kind of expected. It was like, hey, we work our tails off, every weekend. We don't really, know what to expect. Like, yeah, we're gonna go in there and give everything we have to win, but it was different. It was very, very similar to that, 2015 team where, hey, um, you know, we may win or it's just weird, like because you don't we didn't go into everything kind of expecting to win.
Yeah.
But I will say this: that 2019 team was the toughest team that I've ever been a part of.
Really.
Just from we basically start the year like we always did, red hot. Then we go to
Yeah.
Auburn first weekend and get swept.
Mm.
So then it's like, oh, dude, hey, same old stuff, man. Like,
Right.
D play starts, and then we ended up, winning a handful. Well, we're right where we want to be. Go to Arkansas, get swept.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it turns into, hey, we go to Florida. We have to win basically 4 out of the next 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Friday night we have a 7-run lead, and I was actually the guy that gave up most of the runs in that 7-run and to blow the 7-run lead, but lose Friday night. So it's like,
Yeah.
dang, dude, we had a 7-run lead, and now we got 5 games to win 4.
Yeah.
And but dude, like basically, I know I'm going off on another tangent, but dude, it going through it that first time in 2019 has helped the rest of the years, right?
Yeah.
From a mentality standpoint, hey,
For
this is
sure.
what expect. And then I think the culture thing is huge, man. Everyone is basically together. Like everyone comes together for one goal,
Right.
and that's to win, that's to have each other's back, all that stuff. And the guys, I mean, they work their tails off to kind of keep the culture that way, and it's paid off.
For sure. For sure. I completely agree. I think,
So
and watching watching guys over the years, you're right. That 2019 team, kind of set the tone for going forward. And
right,
it's I mean, and it's one thing to like want to do something, and it's one thing to have a standard. And it seems like
right,
now, like Tennessee baseball is like, hey, we have goals, and these goals are gonna get met, and if not,
right.
we're gonna meet these goals.
It's an issue,
Um, yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So and then
dude. Hey,
it
so
seems. Oh, go
so
ahead.
so kind of what happened. So I think this was in 2018 or 2019, but basically it's fall break, right?
Mm-hmm.
No students are there, nothing. Like, hey, but you practice on fall break, like, that's the way it is, dude.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
You get dude, those are two huge days for you right there in the middle of your fall. And so I guess someone on the team was walking down the hall complaining, okay? Like, oh, it's fall break, we could be at home, we could be doing this or that. And I guess V heard it. He was like coming out of the coach's office, whatever.
Yeah.
And so um, before practice that day, because he had just gotten the job, he was like, hey, basically, this or that. If we want to go where we want to go, and he's, feisty, fiery at this point.
Right.
Basically, if we want to go where we want to go, this is what it takes. Like going the extra minute, or going the extra mile. Your expectations aren't just going to a regional, or like
Mm-hmm.
ain't just going to, SEC tournament or whatever. Like, dude, you basically have to work day in and day out to, make it past a regional, to go to super regional, go to Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of the first taste of, hey, dude, it ain't no more, you know, hey, let's be one of the best 12 teams,
Yeah.
let's get into Hoover, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. The other thing which he always harps about is like insanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the things back when I was playing that I think kind of helped turn everything around was, why would he come in here? Why would we as players, why would we continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results?
Right.
You know, like like what is it going to take? Like what are we going to do extra to basically, take the next step?
Right.
So that was kind of something that helped, and I think kind of changed from that 2015, 2016, 2017 year up, and going 2018 and beyond.
For sure.
And now, like you said, dude, it's a standard. Like hey, you come in here, you come in for summer school, and we can get to all these kids want to come in now. They see what they see on Twitter and do all this. They want to come in, they
Mhm.
wear the backwards hats, they want to act like what they think is right on Twitter and all this stuff.
Yeah,
They don't see kind of what the work, they don't see, everyone sees how Drew Gilbert was when he hit a home run, but nobody saw what Drew Gilbert did on Mondays or Tuesdays and Wednesdays, at night, putting the work in so that he could do that.
for
So
sure.
everyone wants to act the way that they want to, they see and stuff like that. And that's kind of the deal, man. Like, hey, you can kind of act, to an extent, you can act how you want to act, be yourself if you put the work in, right? But if
Yeah.
you're like, because I remember we had a kid, gosh, and dude, I'm so sorry. I probably didn't even answer your question. I just
No,
keep
you're good. You're
rambling
good,
on
man.
about
You
different
are.
stuff.
You're good.
But dude, so we had a kid. We were playing LSU, right? It was, I think this was in 2021. Okay, so we're playing LSU. We had a kid like basically never worked hard, never played nothing at all, right?
Yeah.
But he's the one talking trash after we sweep LSU in 2021. Okay,
Oh, jeez.
and it's basically, dude, we're gonna see if we want to go to where we want to go, we're gonna see those
Yeah.
guys again,
Yeah.
right?
What you did.
And
Yeah.
we did, yeah, dude. And it's like, what, like, how are you basically, you don't put the work in or do this or that, or maybe disrespect, whatever it is. How are you the one who's going to be out there? You're not the one, or be out there talking. You're not the one who has to go out there and back it up,
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, hey, because I remember watching that, it was that LSU and Oregon super regional or regional, and
Regional.
dude, lo and behold, hey, LSU coming to Knoxville for the super, right? And it's like,
Yep.
damn, that's the first thing where your mind goes to. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
because
this kid's
they
the
remember
one,
that.
right? Hey, he's the one waving to all those dudes. Like, but yeah, dude, that's kind of the MO now, man. Like, hey, if you put the work in, and you do things right day in and day out, you respect Megan, you respect Woody, you do everything basically, to a set standard, then you have the freedom to be yourself and do the things that you want to do, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so, but yeah, dude, I know I probably didn't even answer your question
No,
right
you
there.
did, man. You did. You did. I mean, it's at the end of the day, man. Like you have to, especially going to that point. It's like knowing when to do something and when not to do something.
Right,
And but yeah, I'm glad you actually brought it up because um, with LSU, I remember that. I mean, LSU. I mean, that was a really good team that year. I mean, they
right.
had some crazy guys on the team, and then they had
Yeah, Dylan Cruz.
did Dylan Cruz. Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
freshman that year,
right,
and I
dude. But
remember
he was
watching
still
him.
good, man.
Man, oh my gosh. I remember watching him then. I'm like, who is
Yeah,
this guy? I mean,
dude.
he
He
had
hit.
such a pure swing.
Yeah, hey, he hit a fastball. He hit a fastball that was this far off the plate. Like, hey, this thing was in the left-handed batter's box. He hit
Yeah.
this thing that basically came within a foot of hitting the right field foul pole. I
Oh
was
my
like, dude, this
goodness.
guy is ridiculous, and he's a freshman too. Hey, and
Yeah,
then kind of, I mean, not to brag on him too much, but dude, the guy adapts to the way that you're pitching him like nobody I've ever seen before.
mm,
Like, hey, okay, you had success, throwing him, this way, on Friday night. Well, okay, now he's got you figured it out Saturday,
for
right?
sure.
And then it's like, okay, well,
That's what big leagues hitter do, bro. That's
right,
when like you only come across like a couple guys in your career that do stuff like that. That
yeah, yeah,
that make an adjustment like
right,
each at bat or each game. Um,
yep,
which is crazy. And I guess uh going in, and then we'll go to the next topic. But I definitely wanted to get this. 2021, y'all did play LSU in the Super
yep,
Regionals, and I mean, it had been, I mean, maybe what 20 plus years? No, maybe like 15, 16, 17
yeah.
years since
Well,
Tennessee had made it to a
yeah, I
College World
think it was
Series.
2005. Yeah, yeah,
2005.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how was that feeling knowing that you just helped, University of Tennessee get back to the College World Series?
It was cool, man. Like it was rewarding because like dude, you know how it is. You basically go through the whole fall.
Yep.
Do all the stuff for winter break. You come back. You got to do the tests, all that stuff. In the winter, and then you basically play the whole year to reach this one goal, and then you get there, and it's special. Like it's dude that night, knowing that you're going to Omaha in 3 days or 2 days or whatever it
Hmm.
is it was freaking awesome.
I bet.
Um, and then once you get up there, like this past year, I think I enjoyed it a little bit more. The first year,
Hmm.
I was probably now, dude, it was COVID. It was like the year after COVID, so you had like
Yeah.
all these testing, whatever. It was that probably played a little bit of a factor into it, but it was a little kind of stressful because you get up there, man. It's like, hey, well, I don't want to go too out,
Hmm.
and so that puts a little bit of pressure on you. And then it's absolutely a madhouse in there. Like, dude, it's
Hmm.
absolutely nuts. And but no, it was cool, man. That's something that makes kind of all the stuff you have to go through to get there worth it, you
Yeah,
know.
for
Um
sure. For
and
sure, for sure. That
yeah, but no, I definitely think I enjoyed it this past year, maybe a little more.
good.
Uh
No, I'm glad you did. You did. I mean, like, although y'all have had crazy success over the past however many years, like that's not a given going to
right.
Omaha. So
No,
you
dude,
have you
you're
have to
right.
enjoy that. Like you have to enjoy
Right.
those moments because like obviously y'all plan on going back, year after year, but you just never
Yeah.
know, bro. You never know
Yeah.
what happens. I mean, so the fact that the fact that you went and you
You
had that success
you
is
get
good.
into Yep. You get into a regional, man, anything can happen, you know?
Amen.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, because that Wright State game, okay, so back
Ooh,
back for hey, before LSU, dude, that was the hardest regional in the history of regionals, man. Hey,
absolutely.
you had Wright State. Wright State would have won probably 70, 80% of most of the regionals. Okay.
Yeah.
They were loaded, dude. Like really good. And you know what? If they hadn't made a pitching change, I don't know if we get to them. Right?
It
And
took
then
some.
you have Duke. Duke was red
Yeah,
hot.
that's true. It took
Yep.
some heroic
And
effort from
Liberty,
that
dude,
Wright State game.
Liberty's yeah. No, it did. It did. And it was tough on them. Like, dude, hey, a super emotional game, right?
Yeah.
It gets done at 11:30 just because it takes forever. And then you got to
Hmm.
come back, you got a noon game the next day,
Yeah.
you know. And like those that's a tough game to win if you're them or if you're kind of the team losing that opening game. But dude, hey, and then to top it off, you had Liberty. Liberty's guy they threw in like the fourth or fifth game of that regional that they played was throwing 94, 96. And I was
That's
like,
crazy.
dang, dude, this is nuts, man.
Yeah,
And but yeah, dude, hey, anything happens in a regional, man.
for
Like
sure.
it's wild. Like, dude, it don't matter, what team it is. Like they're all good teams, man. Like they're there for a
Yeah,
reason.
and
And
they're
they know
hot
how to
too.
win.
Most of them are
Yeah.
hot too.
Yep. Dude, and then you have the conference winners, right, who get into
Hmm.
the auto bids. Like, dude, those guys know how to win. Like those guys
Hmm.
obviously they know how to, put some pieces together to win their conference championship.
Hmm.
So that's fun, dude. That's what makes it special. Like, dude, I'm a huge and I love watching college basketball, and I love watching, our basketball teams. They play their tails off. But that's why March Madness is so fun, man. All those teams basically they know what to do and what it takes to win. You
Absolutely,
know,
absolutely. It's
so
about being hot at the right moment. And
right,
baseball, man, it's like, especially when you get to like the regional time, every team is good. Every team has quality
right,
players, and every team can either hit a fastball or pitch or have the right type of pitching. Like they all have mastered what they're good at for that moment.
yep,
And
yep,
even like looking at Wright State, they had some crazy numbers. And a
yeah,
lot of
dude.
people be like, well, it's a conference, yada yada. No, I mean, a lot of
Oh,
those guys got drafted, and
yeah.
they could hit a
They,
fastball.
I think it was that second baseman went. I think it
Yeah,
was Tyler something. I forget, but he went like in the top 10 picks
yeah, he did.
of the whole
He
deal.
did.
You
He did. I
know,
remember that. Yeah, they had some
and
crazy talent on that team. And so and then I guess going segue into the next thing, kind of going off of that, is recruiting. I mean,
Yeah.
in college baseball, it's gotten crazier now. Honestly, I mean, with
Right.
when we were there, I mean, we had to work. Obviously, we're about high school guys and JUCO guys, but now with the portal and just anything can
Yeah.
happen. So, how have you been able to navigate the recruiting tree and recruiting aspect of 2023 to get the guys that you need to get to have a
Yeah.
successful team?
Yeah. Dude, well, I think kind of to go on to how crazy it is, like, dude, when I first got basically to go out recruiting, which was July 1st was when I started going out. Dude, there was back when we played in like the WWBA stuff like that, there was like, 200 teams, right? And that felt
Hmm.
like a ton. Dude,
Yeah.
there was like 438 or 460 teams in the first WWBA that I could go out and watch.
Oh my
And dude,
gosh.
so I go up to Josh and I was like, yeah, I was like, hey, how? And it spread across, hey, all over Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you know, like this is a madhouse? I don't know who you'd go watch, and so kind of relied on Josh and Frank and Tony basically helping me out that first month, and then this fall. Was kind of when it started slowing down, but yeah, 2023 recruiting's different. Like it's very, very different because obviously you have all the high school kids, you have JUCO kids,
Yep.
and then now you add in hey, kids coming from other mid majors who you play throughout the year, or maybe
Yeah.
put up some crazy numbers or whatever it may be, and it's tricky. I guess it's very, very tricky to navigate. I think for our perspective is our culture is so important to us, and you basically want to rely on guys and develop guys to do that
Hmm.
within the framework that you've brought them up in. Um, but it's different. Like one thing I think that is unique to us is and I rely on Frank and like I do more of the pitching, go look at pitchers and stuff like that. But there's
Yeah.
a certain set of criteria that you have to have in order to play here at
Yeah.
Tennessee, right? And like outside of our locker room, it says ball players only, right?
Hmm.
So if you walk in the locker room, your stuff's in the locker room and all that, then you abide by hey, I'm a ball player. Like I do things the right way. I run hard. I, give it everything I have. I'm,
Right.
respectful to Megan, my teachers, Woody, all that stuff. Or else, it ain't going to work and you ain't going to be in the locker room.
Facts.
Right. So there's a certain, set of characteristics that you kind of look at when you're looking at a kid. Right. And if they don't, abide by that, maybe they, don't play hard. They could have waited out for a ball to, help out their team or,
Yeah.
whatever it may be, then, it ain't a fit. Like,
Yeah.
like you would be shocked. You would be shocked at how many super, super talented guys are passed up, upon because they don't, play hard or compete or,
Yeah.
do this or that. I know from like a pitching staff side, like one thing that basically the two big things that we look for is, hey, you compete and you throw strikes,
Yeah.
right? So like if I see a kid in Atlanta or in Florida or wherever it may be, like those are the first two things, man. Like he either competes and he throws strikes or he doesn't,
Yeah.
right? Like how like if I call Josh or V, and say, hey, can you come and watch this kid, like because they do the scholarship stuff.
Yeah.
Thankfully, dude, that stuff is an absolute nightmare.
I
You
bet.
know,
Oh man.
and um, so if I call them up and they go watch this kid, maybe the kid's playing in Atlanta or whatever it is. Well, that's you basically at minimum 7-8 hours of their day that they got to go watch this kid, and the kid don't
Right.
compete or throw strikes. Then what are we doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so it's different. I think some of those characteristics are the same, right?
Yeah.
But again, we don't really want this, turn into free agency.
Yeah.
Like it's you basically you bring in a kid who's done something for 2 years at another place a completely different way. How much or do you think he's the type of kid who you can make a bunch of progress in within that 1 year, or is it a kid comes in kind of jacks up the whole deal?
For
You know,
sure.
so it's just different, man. Like I don't think anyone's kind of mastered how it should go or what you do. You know, it's just there. Like we've been fortunate with it. Like Like
Yeah.
we had just from some of the success that we've had over the last couple of years, like we had a lot more guys drafted and that kind of stuff. That maybe I don't know. I wouldn't say that more than we were anticipating, but maybe they went a year earlier than we thought they would go per
Sure.
se. So it's helped in that regard,
Yeah.
for sure. But we're also hey, we want to get our hands on you and develop you for 2 years and you know kind of go that way, you
Right.
know. And it's a lot easier to kind of mold a guy when you have a guy for a full year, whether he pitches a whole bunch or whatever that first year. Like as a sophomore going through, hey, this is how we do it in the weight room. This is what we expect day in day out of you. It's a lot easier for them to kind of grasp that year two, year three, and so on.
For sure.
But yeah, it's different. Then you could add social media into the whole mix, man. That's just uh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
oh man, it's, and there are some positives for the social media part, but there also are some negatives for that. Like what has that been like for
no,
you
there
to
are.
like to navigate like the social media part of the recruiting part?
Yeah, it's different. Like, here's where now. Okay, so the social media helps kids, but a lot of it still goes back to those connections with like travel coaches and high school
Mm-hmm.
coaches and stuff like that, right? So, um, like obviously it kind of puts kids on our radars who maybe or maybe not would have not been on there.
Yeah.
But the flip side of it is you see a kid post on his Twitter, "Hey, I'm throwing 93" or whatever it may be. So like one of our coaches did last spring, you drive 8 hours to the kid's state to watch a high school game, and the kid's like 86, 88, doesn't throw
Mm-hmm.
strikes, doesn't throw any off speed for strike, whatever. And it's like, dang, I basically I missed, whatever to do this, all because of a, Twitter deal. But, the flip side is, there's a lot of kids who I think it helps because, you see a kid on Twitter, like I did the other day, there's a JUCO kid down in Georgia and it's, hey, this kid's throwing, it looks dang good on video. So you call the coach and the coach is, hey, it's great. Or, hey, it's, it probably needs a little bit of time. So it helps.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, there's also such a flood of kind of what you can believe and what you can't.
That's true.
You see kind of so much of, hey, I was this, I was that, whatever's, I don't know. It's different. And then, kid, thinks he has to, update every good outing and can never, it's different, man.
Yeah,
Like I just don't remember that kind of being a thing when, we were going through it a whole
for
lot.
sure. Yeah, I
Um,
agree. I
but
completely
I
agree.
don't
I
know.
mean,
It's there. Like it's a tool. I think if you use it the right way, like, from the other side of it, like I think if you use it the right way and just, post some videos, stuff like that, it definitely, helps. Because we could, see that,
right. No, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's like you said, it's a double-edged sword because it's like, I mean, for instance, I've seen some social media stuff of guys who are really good, and
Right.
it turned out like, yeah, that was like that was what it was. And then I saw some kids who, post their home run that's batting
Yep.
220 in high school. So I'm
Right.
just like, what are we
Right.
doing here?
Hey,
And
or the stats. Yeah, because I fell in a trap earlier this year because the stats one, it's like, hey, I've went 5 innings, punched out however many, it was some
right.
crazy number, no hits or whatever. Okay, that's fine. Well, you call the coach, yeah, you walked 8 guys.
Mm,
So like
yeah.
that's kind of the
The
bad
other
side of
side.
it.
Yeah, the bad side
Yeah,
for sure, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
And well, good man. I want to get you out of here. I got one more question for you.
yeah, yeah.
What would you say to you as you being a coach? What would you say to a high school kid that's trying to play college ball? What are some like
Yeah.
pointers that you would give that high school kid trying to play college ball?
Yeah, dude, I think like at the end of the day, so and granted, I've been able to go on the road recruiting since July 1st, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are kids who get X'd off because they don't play hard,
Mm-hmm.
right? that is such a huge deal in kind of the college game, like especially for us. I'm sure other programs, have it to an extent too. But
Right.
dude, if you don't play hard and you don't compete, you don't run hard to first base, or
Yeah.
you are a bad teammate, whatever it is,
Hmm.
like that's the easiest way to get basically an X next to your name,
Yeah.
right? But on the flip side of it, like, dude, if you are a kid, like, you can visibly see, like, hey, all this kid wants to do is freaking compete,
Yeah.
right? All this kid is, he's a great teammate. Like, he's the first kid out, and so on. But yeah, dude, like, there's maybe a program. I ain't gonna say the name of it, but
Hmm.
dude, I hate going to watch the any team in the program play, because it's just the
Really.
same thing. Like, the parents are, that wow, the players don't play hard. They don't stretch singles in a double. It's just boring, right? Like,
Yeah.
why I don't know. You don't want that on your college team. So why would during the WOBA, when every coach is out there watching, you know why would you not play hard or
Yeah,
compete?
what are
But
we doing here? Like this is the time
right,
for you to like you're like and that's the kid that's what I try and tell a lot of kids is like when you're playing travel baseball, obviously you want to win. Like I
right,
that is there. But at the end of the day, you're showcasing yourself. You have to
right,
go out there and compete and understand that sometimes, I tell guys this. I mean, my that a lot of people it's your junior summer. Like, wouldn't you say is after that junior year of high school, that summer is usually the big summer for people. Um,
right.
I had an awful, and I say awful junior summer, and a lot of it was putting pressure on myself. I
Yeah,
knew I had, I wanted to do this, wanted to do that, um, and I didn't perform well. And the good thing is, I think Tennessee saw me 2 games
yeah,
and I was a good player. Obviously, I was a good player, but I just didn't have a good summer circuit. And Tennessee saw me 2 games at the Royal Wood Bat. And
yeah,
one of the things they saw is I had a couple good hits those 2 games, but one of the things that I was told that really like set it aside is and I did it because I was mad. Like I grounded out the shortstop and like I busted down the
right,
line. I was out, but I did it because that was like an angry run.
right,
But still,
right.
like that, they see that, regardless if
Yeah,
you're running hard or not. Like sometimes you gotta, fake it till you make it, or because at the end of the
right.
day, you have people, you always have people looking at you,
Yep.
and it is way easier for them to cross your name off than it is for them to circle your name and be like, hey,
No,
let's,
dude, you're right.
let's come
You're
back.
right. Dude,
Wouldn't you agree?
no, dude, hey, 100%. 100%. Because, dude, at the end of the day, if the kid, we were actually talking about this the other day. If the kid turns out, because, dude, recruiting, hey, you're gonna miss on, some kids. Maybe the kid
Yeah.
ain't, as talented as you thought, or, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, let's say you come in and you struggle, right? Or you do
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Well, you still play your butt off, right?
Yeah,
You're a good teammate and you compete, right? So at the end of the day, like, those are the things that keep, good guys around, and those are the type of kids who are part of good programs,
for
right?
sure.
And because you're not only, you're basically affecting everyone else too, right?
Yeah,
When you're doing that. So, dude,
absolutely.
that's the big thing. Like, like, that's kind of the big thing that I've seen over the last, 4 or 5 months, that if I was kind of in their shoes, I would say, okay, hey, dude, I am diving for every ball that I think I can get. I'm, basically running everything out hard. I'm going to try you know every single, or basically double or single that you can stretch into a double. I'm going to do it, right?
For sure.
And dude, because that's the stuff that you kind of look for. Like, dude, I ain't the best. Like, I'm better at evaluating pitching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I spent my whole life as a pitcher. I work with the pitchers, right? So if you're a position guy, like, why would you? That's kind of one of the ththings that I'm looking at right there.
Yep.
You know, so
Absolutely.
but yeah, dude, that's definitely probably the biggest thing right there.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. It's huge. I mean, you gotta try to, you're not gonna get a hitter at bat, so you got to figure out ways to let them see you, man.
Right,
So, but yeah, man. Well,
right,
I appreciate you, man, being on here with me and taking
yeah,
time out of your day. I know your schedule is crazy, man. But I always tell people this. I cherish the game of baseball, but I more so cherish the guy that I play with. And you're one of the guys that I
Yeah,
play with that like made it fun for me. And we got close, especially like being from Atlanta. And there was an age difference, but it really didn't matter. We had class together, and it worked out, man. So
yeah,
once again, I appreciate you being on here, and just congrats on the new role. Being full time, man. You've worked your tail off to get to this point, and I've been watching you from afar and just keeping up with you, man. So congrats on that.
yeah. No, I
Appreciate you being on
appreciate
here,
it, man.
man.
Yeah, no, dude, I really appreciate you having me. I hate that it kind of took so long since we initially talked about it. But
It's all
no, it
good.
was fun, man. It's good to see. It's always good when you come back.
Yeah.
Especially I knew you were taking freshman classes. And freshman classes as a junior right there,
Hey, be like
but
that.
no, dude,
You got to work the
you're
system.
yeah, dude, right on. But no, dude, it's always good to see you, and heck, dude. I mean, I freaking looked up to you when I was a young pup, and kind of
Hmm.
saw how you do things. So, but it's been cool. You gotta come back. Come back up for a series, all that good stuff.
I am.
So,
I am.
yeah,
Once we get baby girl taken care of, we plan on
yeah,
coming to like the. I definitely want to come to like LSU Tennessee series. I'm
yeah.
gonna be there. I'm gonna
No,
be
that'd
there
be
for that.
good.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'll hit you up, man. But yeah, man. Thank you for being here. This concludes the episode, man. Make sure y'all give it a like, subscribe, let your friends know about it. See y'all next time.